All right, on number 1, what method did you guys use to solve it? Graphing. And when you graph it on your calculator, what is the answer? 4, 4. All right, number 2. What's the best method for solving this one? Substitution, because we have a y all by itself right there. Since that y is by itself, we scribble out his twin, this y up here. And we put in something of equal value, which is a 2x minus 16. So it's negative 3x minus 3, but instead of times y, it's times 2x minus 16 equals 3. From here, I see the distributive property with the negative 3. So that gives me negative 6x plus 48 equals 3. I see like terms on the same side, negative 3x and negative 6x gives me negative 9x. From here, I would do an upside down t and subtract 48, and I'm going to do that in my head, and I get negative 45. Then the next step, I would do an upside down t and divide by negative 9, and I'm going to do that in my head as well, and I'm going to get x to equal 5. So I know my answer, the x value has to be 5. Now we always have to go back and get the other variable, and I'm going to use the bottom equation, even though either one of them will work. Since x is 5, I'm going to plug in a 5 for my x. And we get the y value to be negative 6. So these two would intersect at the point 5, negative 6. Number 3, we have opposites, positive 2y and negative 2y. And as soon as we see opposites, we do addition. Negative 2x and negative 6x gives me negative 8x. Positive 2y and negative 2y cancel each other out, so I don't write anything, not 0, y, nothing. Bring down my equal sign, and 16 plus 16 is 32. That's my new equation. Quick upside down t, divide by negative 8, and I'm going to do that in my head, and we get x to equal negative 4. Now we always have to go back and get the other variable. I'm going to pick the top one. And since x is negative 4, I'm going to plug negative 4 in for my x. From here, I would do an upside down t and subtract 8, and I'm going to do that in my head. And when I subtract 8, I get 2y equals 8. And from here, I would divide by 2, and I'm going to do that in my head as well, and I get y to equal 4. So these two would intersect at the point negative 4, 4. We need opposites. We do not have opposites here. Does everybody see positive 6x and positive 6x? Because we do not have opposites, we have to create opposites. And I told you guys yesterday, I multiply by negative 1, but that's just code for flipping all the symbols, and I do the one on the bottom. You can do the one on the top. It does not matter. So that gives me negative 6x. Let me do it in black. Negative 6x minus 5y equals positive 9. And then after I multiply by negative 1, I scribble it out so that I'm not looking at it anymore. Now I see opposites. Positive 6x and negative 6x. And as soon as I see opposites, I go to addition. My 6x's eliminate. I have negative 7y equals negative 21. From here, a quick upside down t, divide by negative 7, and I get the y value to be 3. Always got to go back and get the other variable, and we have 3 choices. The top equation, the one that's scribbled out, and the bottom equation. And of the 3, I think the top one looks the easiest. Y is 3, so I'm going to plug a 3 in for my y. And then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Quick upside down t, add 6 to both sides, and I get 6x to equal negative 24. Another upside down t and divide by 6, and x equals negative 4. So these would intersect at negative 4, 3. We don't have opposites, so I'm going to look at the x's. We have positive 8x. I need a negative 8x to cancel it out. So I'm going to multiply the bottom one by negative 4 so that I can get opposites. Negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. Negative 4 times negative 2y is positive 8y. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And again, after I multiply it, I scribble it out so I'm not looking at it anymore. From here, I see opposites now, so I'm going to go to addition. 8x and negative 8x eliminate. Negative 5y and 8y gives me 3y. 2 and negative 8 gives me negative 6. Upside down t, and I get y to equal negative 2. Now again, I have 3 choices to go back and get the other variable. The top equation, the one that's scribbled out, and the bottom equation that's written red. Of these 3, I think the top one looks the easiest. Actually, I'm sorry, the one that's scribbled out looks the easiest. 2x minus 2y equals 2. And the y value is negative 2. And I get x equal negative 1. On number 6, we need to get opposites. We do not have opposites, so I'm going to look at the x's first because that's actually the wrong one. And I see negative 9x and negative 8x. Can I multiply either one of those and get the opposite of the other? For instance, can I multiply and get a positive 9x from the top one? No. So I'm going to go on to the y's. I look at 6y and 12y. I would say, what's the opposite of 12y? Negative 12y. Can I get the top one to negative 12y? Yes. What do we have to multiply the top one by to get negative 12y? Negative 2. So I'm going to multiply the top one by negative 2. And that's going to give me 16x minus 12y equals negative 4. And as soon as I multiply it, I scribble it out so I don't have to look at it anymore. Now I have opposites with the y's, and as soon as we see opposites, we go to addition. And I get 7x equals negative 28. Quick upside down t, and x equals a negative 4. Now again, we always have to go back and get the other variable. There's 3 choices, the top one in red, the one that's scribbled out, and the bottom one's in black. I think the one that's scribbled out is actually the easiest. And x is negative 4. From here, I would subtract 32, and when I subtract 32, I get negative 30. From here, I would divide by 6, and I get y to equal negative 5. With number 8, there's actually 2 ways of doing this correctly, so if I do it a different way than you, don't freak out. This problem, you cannot multiply just one equation to get opposites. So we have to actually multiply both equations. Now, because we're multiplying both equations, that means you can choose to eliminate the x's or the y's. For this problem, I'm going to choose to get rid of the x's. Now, negative 4x and 6x, I need to get them both to opposites. So I'm going to make the top one into negative 12x, which means I got to multiply him by 3. And I'm going to try to get the bottom one to positive 12x, which means I have to multiply him by 2. So I'm going to multiply the top one by 3 and the bottom one by...
Wait, what?
So if I'm multiplying the top one by 3, I'm going to finish that out, and that's going to give me negative 9y equals negative 15. And after I multiply it, I scribble it out. If I multiply the bottom one by 2, that gives me positive 10y equals 14, and then I scribble it out. Now, with my two new red equations, I do have opposites, so I go to addition. From here, the x's eliminate. Negative 9y and 10y gives me 1y. Negative 15 and 14 gives me negative 1. So the y is negative 1. Go back and pick whatever equation you want, and we have 4 choices here. I'm going to choose the bottom black one. And y is negative 1. Add 5 to both sides and divide by 6, and you get x to equal 2.
Okay, think on.